What up? It's your boy Ron, man. I'm back with another video. This is Trigger Reactions, and we back with another good video. Leftist woman asked Shapiro if he's transphobic. Now, if you know Ben Shapiro, you already know this guy knows this stuff and he don't come to play. So this should definitely be interesting and entertaining, y'all. So let's get into it.
So you've come out against the rioters in Charlottesville and all their violence and bigotry.
Yep.
The leaders of the Charlottesville rally were empowered by the rhetoric and agenda of Donald Trump and a lot of his associates as they've come out in the Vice documentary and claimed you've not only said controversial things, but you've had a couple of attacks against the trans community, transphobic attacks, even your call for the transfer of Palestinians, which I don't know if you've redacted that.
Yeah, I redacted that like 8-9 years ago.
I just wanted to make sure. I wanted to ask you. No, I'm just learning about Ben.
No, really, that's fine.
Here.
That's fine.
But even with that, do you feel that a lot of your speech could incite the same kind of violence?
I mean, you heard my speech tonight. Do you feel that my speech could incite violence?
Well,
I mean that seriously. That's an honest question.
I know. You're asking honestly. I feel that for me, as an individual, it isn't, but I could see how a lot of your points I really disagreed with. I literally have a list of
and that's fine. I mean, that's the good part, right? Where we disagree and we can have a conversation.
I just was wondering in terms of and what I mean by inciting violence is encouraging the same people who believe in like your transphobic beliefs, even that like homophobia is a sin based on your religious beliefs. Do you believe that because of what you say, you can encourage a lot of people to act on those beliefs?
So I have a very strong standard with regard to incitement, and I'm very consistent about this. If I'm not telling somebody to commit violence, I am not inciting them to violence. I've held the standard for Barack Obama when he was saying anti-police things, and then somebody went and shot up some police officers in Dallas. I said that's not Barack Obama's fault. When a Bernie Sanders supporter went and shot up a congressional baseball game, I said that's not Bernie Sanders' fault because Bernie Sanders wasn't calling for that. Political debate requires that you talk to people, and people take your words as what they mean, not as an excuse to go and do violence. I've never called for violence, nor would I. As far as the idea that my words are some sort of attack, a violent attack, for example, on folks who are transgender, my view, I know, but I'm responding to the people who are not you who might say that. Okay. So the idea that I am transphobic, for example, this is a bizarre kind of attack in the sense that I don't know that I've ever exhibited phobia of trans people. I'm not afraid of.
That's why I think, with all these new terms, transphobia and just phobias. Phobia means to fear something. A fear of something. Phobia, like arachnophobia, fear of spiders. You know what I mean? So to say that someone is transphobic is just improper grammar. The verbiage, it makes no sense to say that to someone who is only speaking to the trans community and saying that they don't agree with everything they believe or stand for. It doesn't make me scared of you. And I'm not, and again, they throw these terms around just all willy-nilly, like you throwing those terms around could incite violence towards me. Because someone from the transgender, so you know what I mean? It wouldn't be your fault, is what he's saying. So these terms and how people are, and especially with this community, is extremely just, it's sensitive. And it doesn't have a room to have an actual conversation, which I think that's what he's doing with the young lady there. She seems to be just, I think, concerned, or actually, I don't think she's the type of leftist we have to worry about. I'll say that in regards to her, because she seems very sensible. She seems very rational. She's just asking questions. She wants to have the conversation, which is great. But to the transphobia and the wording and these new terms that are being thrown around, mainly to conservatives and people who basically go against any leftist idea, that's what they label you as. If you're white, you're racist. If you're anything else, you're trans or radical or whatever the case may be. These terms. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let's just have a conversation. And I can disagree with you without being hateful.
Trans people.
Well, transphobia is more along the lines of prejudice against the trans.
So I actually think that your first characterization was right. I think that transphobia is really disagreement with the basic principle that the trans community is trying to purvey, which is that people's sex is malleable, that people can move from male to female, and that it is my job, objectively, to now call them the name they wish to be called, and to teach my children that men can be women and women can be men. I fundamentally disagree with that point. Now, with that said, is everybody in the United States entitled to the same rights? Of course, but your right does not extend to forcing me to call you what you want me to call you. That's not the way this works. That violates my freedom of speech. So, in interpersonal relationships, if I were out to dinner with a trans person, would I make a point of noting their proper biological sex? No, because that would be impolite. When I'm talking about the general principle of is a man a woman or is a woman a man, the answer is I will say that a man is a man and a woman is a woman and a he is a he and a she is a she.
So what he's saying is he's not an a-hole. He's saying if he saw a trans person out in the street, or even if he worked with one or one was on the panel, outside of a large discussion or debate, we were having dinner, I would call them by what they would like to be called. But on a grand scale, I'm saying that I disagree fundamentally with what trans, like you can't be a man and then turn into a woman. That's just physically impossible. It's impossible. I don't care how many, whatever you try to do, you never can be born a man and then become a woman. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So he's saying, not an a-hole, but on public discussion and on this stage, I'm going to speak against that or say my beliefs on that and why I stand there. I'm not going to be mean and rude and disrespectful to a person that identifies as trans.
If I'm in a public debate with somebody, I will say the same thing.
I do want to clarify that when I meant I wasn't trying to say disagreement. I was relating it to the same definition of homophobia, which is prejudice, or I tried to say discrimination.
Right. So I think that again, homophobia. There are some people who actively want to do violence to people who are gay. Right. I mean, those people are not me or anybody that I agree with. Obviously, I've never at any point in my entire career ever advocated violence. God forbid, against anybody in a civilized society. That's not something that I believe in, and I think it's evil. As far as I think again. Your original definition of transphobia actually is better applied here as well. I think it's disagreement with certain principles that the homosexual community wishes to espouse.
What I was saying was that's not what I was.
I know, I'm saying that I agree with your original definition and not your definition. So the definition that you made.
No, I'm not saying it's mine. It's one that I Googled that I found.
Right. So, and I think that definition is wrong, and I think that the one that you Freudian slipped was right. Is what I'm saying.
So I'm saying based on the institution of I don't want.
She's not getting it. He get it. You're not saying. He's saying that's the best definition to go with, even if you're not going with it, or if that's not what you meant. That's what he's saying is the best definition of the transphobia.
The institution.
And what's so crazy is transphobia that was created when. Who added that to Webster's dictionary? When? How long ago was that? So it's really like we're talking about nothingness. Like it's not even a thing. It's not even a thing. I can't say that because if it was made a word and a thing, a definition for that, if it's a meaning, if it means something, I mean, who creates definitions of words that we speak? Anyways, that's a different conversation. But, yeah, let's go. Man, my light, y'all. It's tripping over here.
because that's an extremely general thing to say. But in terms of as soon as you search transphobia, homophobia, this is what comes up.
And I
Do you feel like even though you're disagreeing with transphobia, with the trans community, which I believe we all have our own disagreements, I'm asking, do you feel that the fact that with your disagreement, you're inherently, through the institutions that have provided these definitions, discriminating against trans community?
And I'm saying
encouraging other people to
so,
follow.
So
I know
here's
it's a long question, but I had to encapsulate a lot of things.
So here's what I'm saying. I disagree with either their definition is wrong or it's overly broad in its application.
Okay.
So if the idea is that if I say a man is a man and a woman is a woman is inherently transphobic, that's not discrimination, that's disagreement. If they say that's discrimination, they're overly applying their own label.
I think when you say like they're mentally ill, like that gives off it.
I have said, and I will continue to maintain, that gender dysphoria or gender identity disorder, whichever DSM you choose to use, is a mental illness. That is.
I mean, what else would you call it? What else would it fall under when you're diagnosing something? What else? Because, and this is just me, my opinion. If my daughter came to me and said she is a cat, now because she's 7, I will, whatever. Now, if she's 27 and saying she's a cat, there's something going on mentally. To believe you are a cat or to believe that you are something that is physically incapable of you being, and you really believe you're that, something is wrong. Now, to dive into, do these people actually believe this, or is this part of I don't know. I'm not in their head, and I'm not a doctor, so I can't properly diagnose. I don't know. But I do, on the surface level, know that if my daughter, I'm talking about my child, if she's 7 and saying she's a cat, it's laughable, it's cute, okay. But if she's 27 and saying she's a cat, if she's 15, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I would think that something's wrong. Some mental illness. Just like any mental, come on, man. But I don't know.
And again, God forbid that it should be said with any animus, because this is not said with animus. When people are suffering, these are clearly folks who are suffering. When people are suffering, you shouldn't be saying stuff with animus. I'm not saying that as a gotcha to people who are transgender.
Right.
The point that I'm making is that when a society begins treating folks who have mental illness as though they are representing an objective reality, they are doing no service to the people who actually suffer from a mental illness. My grandfather.
Exactly. And I'm going to let him go into what he's about to say about his grandfather, but that's just like if you have an elderly person who's suffering from dementia and they're walking around with their pants off, just naked. Now, you could either continue to put pants on them, or you can keep them in a isolated room where it's just them and it doesn't really affect anyone else. Cool, but you cannot let that person drive cars and be amongst everybody else walking around with, like in daycares and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like that, yeah. It doesn't do anything for the individuals who's suffering from mental illness. It doesn't. And you don't make them think they okay when they're not. That's not finding a solution. So, yeah, man. But look, guys, that's my time. I'll leave the original video down below. If you like this video, you already know what to do, man. Hit that thumbs up button down below. Thank you guys for supporting the channel, man. We've gained like 300, 400 subscribers in like this week. You guys have been amazing. I'm going to keep coming with the videos. I really, really appreciate you guys. Let's grow this channel, man. Let's go ahead and get to 1,000. then 10,000, then 100,000, then a million, then 10 million. I believe we can do that over here, man, because you guys are amazing. And I'm going to keep giving you guys content. I'm going to keep getting better, with my equipment, everything. Everything's going to get better. But yeah, I love you guys, man. And this your boy Ron. This is Trigger Reactions. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.